Right, I'm live. Okay, just share and share alike. Hope everyone's all right. Okay, it's on there. It's on. Right, put it on there and on Facebook. All right then, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and ladles and jelly spoons, how are you all? I'll say a big hello to everyone in a chat right now. To Marley Pumpkin, Woody Black, David Smith. Nothing as it seems. Welsh Ripper, David Schultz. Israel Diego Rivera, genius to the real genius. Rhiannon, how you doing? Pat Riot, Glowtone, greetings all of you. How are you? Really good of you to join me tonight. What's this? All right, so that's we have lots of interesting comments from people, I think. To begin with, Marley Pumpkin says more childish UFO nonsense for immature people. All right, well, go and watch something else then, Marley. Honestly, no, honestly, you unbelievable. And Woody Black says, "No, you are." Thank you, David Smith. Hello, David. Not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. Nothing as it seems. Third, David Smith. China laser satellites making news online to do. Shining green laser mapping lines down from space. Obviously, aliens. They're not aliens, Steve. What if they're Chinese laser satellites? Then they can't. They're obviously not aliens, are they? Chinese and people are not aliens. I know they're strange, but they're not aliens, are they? It's a bit more stealthy than flying a big white balloon over a country, knowing that NORAD are going to spot it. But anyway, nothing as it seems as UFO shot down over Alaska. Yeah, I mean that's literally true. I mean, if you go to the news, literally true. Hi, David. I hope you're doing well. I hope I'm not bad, thanks, David. Hope you are. Welsh Ripper says Lays have it in Wales, given a beating by Scotland. So I'm not taking no prisoners tonight. If you want to go, is it the Six Nations? Bloody hell, is it? Oh God, how have I forgotten the Six Nations? Greetings, David Schultz. Watch the skies. Yeah. Well, you haven't had any over Maine yet, but you might. You never know. You might well do that. Diego Rivera says Russell looks angry. Not as angry as I'm with Russell. Yeah. How you doing, Rhiannon? I hope it's good to hear from you again. Hope you're all right. Tina Silva, how you doing? Kate Nye. Ben the OD. Don't call me an ODO. Michael Snow, hello. Alien Biker, that's a good name. How you doing? Tina Silva brings up the song 99 Red Balloons. Yes, I remember that song. Yeah. Kate says, can you get Russell to co-present this with you? Russell? No, Russell just wants to stand there now. Fletch, hello, Fletch. Luke Griffin. Tina says, incredible chemtrails day and night for over a week now. Yeah, I noticed. I noticed them today. They seem to have picked up an awful lot in the last couple of weeks. Six Nations. Oh, I followed the Six Nations. Marley must be weighed down by chains of life for turning into a pumpkin at midnight. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Marley's got nothing better to do. Anyway, guys, I'll go through the notice comments. I'm going to leave the notice up actually because, but I've had a number of. I put up the notice earlier on, which is for more than one live stream. I wasn't even sure when I was going to do this. I wanted to see how things developed in terms of information. I thought if there was no new news by the end of today, I would do one at 9 p.m. If some news had come in earlier, I'd have done one then. But I've had a busy afternoon actually recording the Apollo detectives. Oh, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. It's the Apollo detectives with a difference, I'll tell you. Carl Helsby says, looking forward to this, Ben. Thanks, Carl. Keith Smith says, what is your opinion on Corey Good and his magic wand theory? Do you know what? I don't know much about Corey Good. I don't follow him very much. It's like David Wilcock. People always put those two together. I know a bit about them. I don't follow them very closely. Excuse me. I've never found them terribly impressive, to be honest. Fletch says, nice. Thanks, Fletch. I've never found them all that impressive. But anyway, hello, David Gregg. I just popped in. Gusty. Good to see. Hello, Simon Tucker. Hello, Michael Snow. How are you? Hope you guys are doing all right. Hope you're doing all right. It's been a strange sort of day. Strange couple of days. Of course, you're probably familiar with this story. All kicked off late last night. I just sort of relaxing for the evening. What had I done last night? Oh, I just been talking on Skype with the Lapis people, and news came. Some people started. I think people know what I'm like, so they DM me these things whenever they appear. Ben, you know what's happened? The Americans just shot a UFO down over Alaska, and I thought, blimey, really? Turned out, yes. The Biden administration reported that it had been another incursion into US airspace just a few days after that mysterious balloon. But in this case, they said it was caused by something they referred to as an object. Now, that's awfully irregular for the government to use the word in that context, object. It was moving slowly. They said 20 to 40 miles per hour northwards off the coast of Alaska, about 40,000 feet in altitude, which does put it within the the altitude of commercial jet. They tend to fly there, commercial jets. So it was a collision risk. And yeah, so then they took it down. Let's have a look at the news story. I've been checking on this, I'm seeing if the news story changes actually. Let's have a look. This is the news story. I'll just refresh it again. It's been like that since last night. US shoots down high altitude object off Alaska. An object. Why an object? And this is, you see here, this is actually flight radar. That's actually the tanker plane that supported the two fighter jets. It's a remote area of northern Alaska. It's Prudhoe. It's Prudhoe Bay. The book. We'll be showing more of that later. See, that's the tanker plane circling to keep an eye on what's going on. Oops. It came down over the Beaufort Sea, over the north of Alaska. Fighter jets were deployed from Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Anchorage, and then President Joe Biden ordered the object to be brought down, and it was. And then the person you just saw was National Security Council spokesman John Kirby. We'll hear more about him later. Now, he said something very strange now. He said, we do not know who owns it, whether it's state-owned or corporate-owned or privately owned. But if they are going to attack something, they must have something of an idea what they're attacking. They must have some kind of clue about what it is. They do, they just don't want to tell us. And I find it unusual that they won't even give the object a designation. They won't say it's an airplane, a balloon, satellite, drone, etc. Which indicates to me there's something a bit different about this operation, something highly unusual about this particular operation. Why not also? Why say anything at all? Why not just slap a D notice on it? Why not just Why not just not publicize the story in the media? Because the region it happened in is very sparsely populated. If they wanted to keep it quiet, it'd be easy. There would be very few witnesses. I mean, Mr. Kilby makes some comments as to the physical nature of the object. He says it's about the size of a small car, so he makes it much smaller than the big Chinese balloon. Now, according to ABC News, an unnamed US official, I know that's convenient, but it's bound to happen in this situation, said that it was cylindrical and silver-ish grey. Why don't they just call it a flying disc? Anyway, the debris fell into the Beaufort Sea. Now, this time of year, it's actually frozen over, so recovering it should be quite easy, much easier than recovering the remains of the Chinese balloon off South Carolina. No different really to a land salvage operation. They just have to, because the ice forms a solid surface. So I thought, I'll see where this goes, see if how things change, whether the situation changes at all. And to be honest, it hasn't changed much. This is still the leading story in the US and Canada tab on BBC News. No more information released, though. No more information. It just says US President Joe Biden ordered a fighter jet to shoot down an unidentified high-altitude object. A high-altitude object. They haven't even said what object it is. Spokesman John Kirby says the unmanned object was the size of a small car, posed a reasonable threat to civilian aviation. The object's purpose and origin were unclear, Mr. Kirby said. So I've got the yawns at the moment. This comes a week after the American military destroyed a Chinese balloon over U.S. territorial waters. Now, that was interesting, wasn't it? The balloon itself was interesting. They just let it fly all the way over the United States, but they didn't shoot it down till it was over the sea. I mean, once it was over the sea, they shot it down very quickly, which is obvious why. And they used a fragmentation warhead to blow the envelope completely to bits rather than just put a few holes in it and let it deflate slowly. They popped it. And the reason is they want it to fall within US territorial waters, and they want it to fall in waters that are not too deep, because they know it's going to sink. If it sinks, they're going to need to send down divers and things like that. It's much easier if the water's shallower. So this new object was flying at 40,000 feet over the northern coast of Alaska. It had already flown over Alaska at a speed of 20 to 40 miles per hour, and that's very slow. That's too slow to be an aeroplane. It was out over the sea, traveling towards the North Pole. Helicopters and transport aircraft have been deployed to collect the debris from the frozen waters of the Beaufort Sea. Yeah. The object was first spotted on Thursday night, although the officials did not specify time. They specified nothing about this. They're calling it an object. Two fighter jets approached the object and assessed that there was nobody on board. Mr. Kirby said, "We're going to remain vigilant about our airspace. The president takes his obligations to protect our nation's security interests as paramount." Yeah, I like this story, he does. According to ABC News, the object seemed to have no propulsion. It seemed to be floating, cylindrical and silverish grey, reported the network's chief of global affairs correspondent, Martha Radat, citing an unnamed US official. Pentagon Press Secretary Brigadier General Pat Ryder said the object was not similar in size or shape to last week's Chinese balloon. We're going to have a look at his testimony in a minute. He confirmed that an F-22 jet had shot down the object with a Sidewinder missile 1345 EST, 1845 GMT on Friday. The warplane was scrambled from Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Anchorage. General Ryder said a significant amount of debris had been recovered so far. It was being loaded onto vessels and taken to labs for subsequent analysis. Well, that's Wright-Patt, isn't it? That's Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. That's the same place they took the bits of the balloon. Officials said they had not yet determined whether the object was involved in surveillance. And Mr. Kirby corrected a reporter who referred to it as a balloon. Oh, so it's... He did not specify where exactly the object was shot down, but the Federal Aviation Administration said it had closed about 10 square miles of U.S. airspace above Dead Horse. That's a good name, isn't it? Dead Horse, northern Alaska. The site is 130 miles from the border of Canada, whose Prime Minister Justin Castro said on Twitter he'd been briefed on the object that violated American airspace and supported the decision to take action. No other objects of a threatening nature have been identified above the US at the time. Mr. Kirby said the object did not appear to have the maneuverable capability of the Chinese balloon. and appeared to be virtually at the whim of the wind. See, the Chinese balloon did have a propulsion system, making it technically an airship. I mean, there was a lot of there's a lot of fuss over the word airship. Some people thought it might be a mistranslation, but it did appear to have some propulsion capability. Hours after the US shot down the balloon last Saturday, all right, I think this is all about the balloon from now on. So forget, it doesn't really matter that. Let's have a look at this press conference. This is Brigadier General Patrick S. Ryder talking about what happened. I'll stop it at certain times to provide commentary. A high altitude airborne object. Yes. Why don't they just say it's a balloon or a drone? I don't get that. How are you guys getting on in chat? E.T., hello E.T. Hello Martin Taylor. Hello Catherine King. Please don't call that entity president. Donald J. Trump is president of the USA. I agree, Catherine. Yeah. Hello Duncan Campbell. How do you do? Bill Cooper. There's a blast from the past. Bill Cooper maintained the deep states were working with the Greys from 1954 and turned down the tall aliens who offered spiritual help. Oh, that's all right. Bill Cooper. Yeah. Hello Della. How are you? I'm just going to go through some of your comments. I find it all very scary. I rely upon you to work all this out for me, so I'm clueless about it all. I'll do my best, Della. Yeah, Duncan Campbell. As soon as I saw weather balloons last week, I thought, here we go, Blue Bean. Well, this is important, Duncan. This is an important point. Is this going to be like the last card? Is this going to be like the prelude to the last card? Because I've always said that was a distinct possibility, and ET has similar ideas. Richard, it's Richard Branson. Hello, Carol. How do you do, Carol Motzinger? Oh, Hunter Frisbeeing his old laptop. I might have to skip some of your comments, guys. I'm apologies. If you want me to reply to a comment and I don't reply to it, you can always repost it. So cut and paste it, someone repost it. Rhiannon says, if they shot one down and the alien survived, it could be lurking about when I am putting the bins out late at night. That is too scary a thought to contemplate. Yeah, you never know. I mean, drunk farmers coming back from the pub maybe are the only thing more. I don't think. Anyway, let's carry on with Brigadier General Patrick Slider, whatever his name is. Ryder, Patrick S. Ryder. Let's put the captions on in case you can't hear it. They identified it. Does that mean they just located it, or does that mean they know what it is? I mean, they didn't take them long to work out what the balloon is. When the balloon wasn't very well hidden, was it? Big white envelope, easily 150 feet across. Yeah, I mean, it makes you weird. I mean, the Chinese have very capable reconnaissance satellites. Makes you wonder why they chose a balloon. I mean, it's they must have known if they were sending a balloon, if they did it deliberately, that NORAD would spot it. I mean, but you can fly a reconnaissance satellite over the United States quite legally. The US owns its own airspace, but it does not own the space above it. I wonder how much we're going to hear about that. How much are we going to hear about these recovery operations? We've heard nothing about the recovery operations of the balloon, which means both, I think, are probably going to are going to be kept completely quiet. I've got a feeling both these stories are just going to die, actually. They're just going to fade away unless they're there for some kind of agenda. Oh, bugger off. Don't you know? That's interesting, isn't it? What do you say there? No description of its capabilities, purpose, or origin. What is it? What is it? You keep calling it an object. Thing is, they must have some idea what it was when they attacked it. They must have had some idea what it was when they sent the plane up to shoot it down. So they're able to tell us how big it is, but they can't tell us what it is. Oh yes, but there was that's that earthquake. All right, hang on. We're gonna go. We'll go to Q&A because he talks about the Syrian earthquake now. Good question, because the type of weapon used might give us a clue over what it was. If it was a fragmentation warhead, it's likely to be another balloon or something you can perforate, basically to perforate the balloon like they did the Chinese one. They basically popped it. That's an air-to-air missile. I think those helicopters, and I think someone can correct me if they know better. I know there's like a large aeroplane as well. What was it someone said earlier on? It's not aliens, but it might be aliens. Yes. Good question. Balloon object, whatever it is. Yeah. Is it Chinese? Zeta Reticuli. Maybe harp. Oh, bloody, bloody, bloody. Use an ad blocker ban. The last object over Alaska and Canada and the US was a balloon, and they said it was a balloon. Let's have a look at this guy, actually. This is him, Patrick S. Ryder, American military officer and United States Air Force Brigadier General, who has served as Pentagon Press Secretary since August the 4th, 2022. He's a bloody Biden appointee. Oh, that just talks about his career there. Not much on him. Where are we? That's... So they observed it, but they just say it's an object and they don't know where it came from or what its purpose is or origin. Great observation, guys. That's fair enough. I mean, the Chinese balloon was much higher. It was 60,000 feet. Civil aviation doesn't go that high. Interesting that that Alaska was where Captain Teraheuchi had his sighting. He was a civil pilot, airline pilot, flying from to Alaska, over Alaska, and he saw something. He was a mile across this thing, gigantic. He called Nick Pope. Oh, they're just talking about the first balloon now, or the balloon. By his accent, I'd say this guy's Indian. This is a big international issue. There's probably reporters from most countries in that room. Can you guys hear this, by the way? Am I sharing? I should be sharing the audio. Turn on the sound. Oh yeah. Okay. Not good job. I got the earphones on. How do you turn the sound on? Present. Okay. Let's have a look. How do I turn on the sound? Settings. You can't hear this apparently. Okay, good job we got the good job. Hello, Tricky Woo. How are you? Good job I got the. Right. Oh bloody! How do I do this? Print slides, extra camera, video file, stop screen. How do I do this? Edit name, stop screen. I'm sorry, I don't know. I did it last time. I managed it all right last time. Why can't I do it this time? Why can't I get a sound on it? Okay, so let's have a look here. What do I do this? How do I get the sound? Oh dear, I don't know how to do it. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do it. I did it last time. I don't know why I can't do it this time. Hang on. Hang on. Settings. Hotkeys, recording, virtual background, layout, camera, audio, mic, speaker, stereo audio. I'm sorry, guys. What's this? To share on share video screen, share audio from your screen. You must click the share audio button tick on the bottom. Share video. Okay. No, not that. Share audio from your screen. You must click. Okay, present. Oh, video file, stop screen, extra camera. I don't know what to do. This is annoying because edit name, stop screen. Hello, David Splendid Isolation. How are you? Fletch doesn't mind the subtitles. Oh, I think we might have to debate. I don't know why this is it. I did it last time. What's this? Cinema layouts, playing a picture layouts, screen layouts, news layouts. I did it last time. Evening all. What's this? Oh, go away. Okay. I could spend all night trying to do this. Let's go back to. Oh, go away. It's bugging me. This is really bugging. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Full screen layout. What do I tick? Evening, Donna Wellham. This is bugging me. Computer says no. Hello, Neil. How you doing? Hey, Neil, we had a good time earlier, didn't we? Unplug your headphones. I can't do that because I need it for the mic. I'm stuck. Oh, this is annoying. Can you see this? You should be able to see this. Yeah, good question. Why is that? That's dodging the question. Oh, this is annoying. I feel this is really annoying me. Edit. Oh dear. I'm not sure what else I can do. Does anyone else know what to do? Stream remove. Okay. Oriana says maybe this whole thing's been staged to distract us from something else. Well, you know, Oriana, do you remember there was this fuss about the FBI demanding like £50 million? Unplug your earphones. If I could do that, I'll lose the mic, and if I plug them in, it might not work. Okay, let's carry on. Can you see that? You should be able to see that all right. According to its merits. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking maybe I could download this and then play it on the video. Maybe that would work. Check my computer browser volume. Is it on mute? No, it's on. It's not mute. I'm going to try downloading this video and then playing it on. Here. Forgot you using Opera and check Opera settings. Okay, thanks, whatever your name is. Thank you. Settings, theme, start page, appearance, privacy, default browser. What if I do it? Maybe if I do it with Opera, would that? What happens if I do it with Opera then? Maybe I can open Opera. I'm just waiting for it. I'm just trying to download this, guys. I'll go through your comments while I'm waiting for that. What's this? Stop sharing. Okay, I'm downloading it. Hello, Nocturnal Frequency Radio. How are you doing? Oh, I'm glad Neil Peel's here because when Neil Peel, we did Neil and I and a couple of other people did a really, really good Apollo Detectives today. We just recorded it, and I won't spoil it for you, but it's really an unusual one. Yeah, it's an unusual one. I think you'll like it. And Arthur Preston says, as far as I know, this is the first time military has ever shot down something they could not immediately identify. That is a story in itself. Exactly, yes. Unless, Arthur, you see, they could identify it, but they just don't want to say what it is. In which case, why say anything at all? That's a good question, isn't it? Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, DJ, there is a screen share on StreamYard, but it's like I somehow got it to work last time. I'm just going to click having issues. What happens when I click having issues? Chat with us? No, I don't want to chat with you. Bugger off. I want some answers. Oh, now I can't close it. It's in the way of the comments. I can't close it. I've got the chat. There's this tab open. I can't shut now. This is not good. This is not good. I'm sorry, I can't see it. Some people are posting questions. I can't see them because there's this chat. How do I shut this tab? Oh, it's gone now. That's it. Rhiannon, what were you saying about the FBI demanding $50,000? It's more than that, Rhiannon. It was about 50 billion. What they wanted to do was they wanted to build a new headquarters on top of the one they've already got. And it was a pretty good day to bury bad news. Okay, not to worry. Is it downloaded? It's nearly downloaded. Thanks. Oh, it's downloaded. Okay, right. So what I'll do now is I'll click present video file.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks very much for
You hear that?
patience while we were delayed a little bit. I have a few things to talk about up top, and then we'll get right to your questions.
So can you
first
hear
of
that?
all, to add to information already
Okay,
provided
boom. That's a tricky
earlier
woo.
by the White House, at the direction of the President of the United States,
It's working. Oh, great.
Our allies and partners to share information along with our State Department colleagues. Let me go to Oren.
Oh, great. Thanks,
Two
Glenn.
questions.
Brilliant.
First, did this object show any signs of maneuverability or propulsion? And then you and other Pentagon officials made a big deal about how much intelligence was gathered by letting the other one float across much of the United States, and yet
Thank you,
shot this one
guys.
down before it entered the United States. Is that the Pentagon bowing to political pressure? Was there nothing to gain from this one?
Yeah. So again, we're going to judge each of these on its merits. No indication at this time that it was maneuverable, but again, we'll know more.
Brilliant, thanks,
and
guys.
in terms of entering the United States,
I'm going to download the next one I want to play now.
Took it down.
Intelligence from this one as you did from the previous one?
We're going to recover what we can from this, and more to follow.
And was the decision to shoot it down before it entered too far into the U.S. airspace, the Pentagon bowing to political pressure from the Hill?
Look, again, we're going to judge each of these objects on its own merits. It entered into U.S. airspace on February 9th. We sent up aircraft to assess what it was. The decision was made that it posed a reasonable threat to civilian air traffic.
This is an important point. And why release anything at all, Ray? I mean, oh, so much. Who's this? Who's this? Hang on. This is my daughter. One moment. One sec. Okay. All right then, guys. Put that over there. Okay. Yeah. Why announce? You see, it's not like it's in the middle of a city. I mean, there's only going to be a very limited number of witnesses. I mean, it's in a remote part of northern Alaska. It's a very isolated area. It's very sparsely populated. They could easily simply slap a D notice on it, pretend it never happened. Come on.
Gave the order to take it down, and we took it down. Thank you, Laura. And then I'll go to Dan.
Thanks. Sorry. Thanks for taking my question. So a couple questions. First of all, has anything like this happened before with a object this size, this shape, in this particular height for the 40,000 foot range? Has it happened before? And then second of all, why did you? Can you say more about why you knew that last balloon or object was from China, whereas this one you don't know?
So in terms of this particular object, again, as I highlighted, we don't know where it's from. It posed a reasonable threat to civilian air traffic, and so the determination was made to take it down. In terms of the other balloon, as I mentioned in our previous briefing, we have learned a lot about the Chinese surveillance high-altitude balloon program. We've gathered a lot of information over the last couple of years, and so we were able to, based on that information, detect at a very early stage. As it approached U.S. airspace, we had a good understanding of what it was. As I mentioned, we were able to monitor that closely, track it while it went over the continental United States, learn a lot about it and take it down at the appropriate time.
So would you
Yeah, I think
urge us to put this in?
the FBI wanted some extra money. I'm just going to download the next video I want to watch. This is John Kirby. We're watching John Kirby in a minute. I'll get third-party bloody strikes for these things. Oh. Let's carry on with that.
A different bucket than that, or should we?
Yeah, I think I was pretty clear. This was traveling at about 40,000 feet.
All right, David Splender's isolation has brought up a good, interesting one. An American jet took off from Manston Airport near me to chase a large UFO over the North Sea and shoot it down. The pilot who gave this order is on a video testimony. Yes, that's Milton Torres, David. He was ordered to fire on this UFO. Funny, something similar happened in Iran in 1976 to someone called Colonel Parvez Jafari. Yeah. Arthur Preston says, I would agree this may be a limited hangout, but my intuition says it was a massive fuck-up. It's possible. I mean, obviously they're saying this because they want to say it. They want to tell us. It's curious about why.
Which posed a reasonable threat to civilian air traffic, and the decision was made to take it down. So, Dan.
When the pilots approached it, and they determined, I understand, that it was not manned. How did they determine that? And at that point, wouldn't it be possible to at least describe what they were looking at? Did it resemble a balloon or an airplane or what?
Again, we'll know more and have more information once we've recovered this. I will give credit to our pilots that they are very capable in terms of looking at an object.
Yeah, just you see, this is that bit again. He changes the subject.
That they are.
Did it resemble a balloon or an airplane or what?
That's a good question.
And how did they determine that? And at that point, wouldn't it be possible to at least describe what they were looking at? Did it resemble?
Why did the government admit to this? Yes, George.
A balloon or an airplane or what?
Again, we'll know.
It's a good question. How do they identify it? It's an object.
More and have more information once we've recovered this. I will give credit to our pilots that they are very capable in terms of looking at an object, assessing.
I'm sure they are, but they're not psychic.
Whether or not this had the potential to be manned at that altitude, something that small, very, very unlikely that it was manned. And so, again, no indication that it was manned.
It may not be manned, but it might be aliened.
Presented a potential reasonable threat to civilian air traffic, and we took it down.
What speed was it traveling at, by the way?
I don't have that information.
On the Chinese balloon, if we could go back.
I've got Apollo Detectives here. Hello, Apollo Detectives. Hi, Ben. What a crap shoot interview with mumblings. He hasn't read one single article yet. He knows everything. What a proverbial joke. Cheers, mate. Apollo Detectives. You've just given away the plot of the next Apollo Detectives video. Yes, we had the mumbler on. I had a live debate with Steve Mumbling. Yes. DJ Beaches, I should reach out to Christina Gomez. She has guests on pretty regularly. I'll be glad to be on her show. I think she's really good. She's a very like I said, she's a really switched on young woman. She gets a lot of sticks. She's got a very positive attitude. So all the backslappers, like Stephen Cambion and Alien Scientist, they all give her grief because of her positivity. To be a true ufologist, you've got to be dark to the very depths of your soul. Llewellyn's on those a shill. Everyone's a shill except me and Andrew Johnson. Yeah. Hello, Nice Lives Matter. Yeah, how do you do? No, I can't start. Sorry, no, I'm not going to start at the beginning. You missed the quiet bit. Put it that way.
Still, in the Pentagon's view, plausible or maybe even likely that it was not necessarily intentional when that balloon turned and blew eastward, that it seemed to have not had some technical problem.
Yeah, so Dan, what I would tell you is based on the information that we have, it was
it's based on the information you want to tell us.
Being maneuvered, purposefully driven along its track. Again, recognizing that winds do play a role because of the maneuverability of the balloon. It's our assessment
Hello,
that
Hachi.
this was a purposeful mission. In terms of the Chinese motivations,
Now they're talking about the old balloon again. Roswell was shot down. Arthur Preston was shot down using directed energy weapons, I heard. What is the likelihood that these things are just crashing by accident after traveling light years? Well, they do. I mean, they seem to be sensitive to things like thunder and lightning. Thunder and lightning often precede a crash retrieval. I've noticed. I mean, that's the case with Roswell. It's the case with Nottinghamshire. There's several other examples. DJ Beauty says Christina had Pete from Creepy Little Book on yesterday. He's a good lad. Oh, never heard of him. Yeah.
again, I'd have to refer you back to China to talk about that. Ma'am, and then come to Nancy.
We emailed you police body camera footage showing a National Guard general in Ohio pushing my colleague and having to be escorted away from him this week. We asked the Ohio National Guard for comment, but do you, as a
that's something different.
In terms of what they may or may not be doing to address it, it would be.
They've been done to a different subject now.
I don't have that information in front of me, so I don't want to make it up.
Try a couple more. Did anyone try to, within the administration, contact their Chinese counterparts before the decision was made to shoot it down?
In terms of when you say the administration, if you're referring to the White House, I'd have to refer you to them. The Department of Defense, to my knowledge, did not. Again, we don't know the point of origin of this object.
Was there any effort to jam or somehow disable this object before?
Good question.
I don't want to get into specific tactics or techniques that we may or may not use when observing these types of things. Again, NORAD sent up aircraft to observe, to see what it was, and then the ultimate decision was made based on the reasonable threat to civilian air.
Woody Black says if they have technology advanced enough to travel the galaxy, I can't see them crashing because of a thunderstorm. Well, it depends, Woody. I mean, it could be there's an unknown element when it comes to UFOs. It could be. What was this? Maybe Elon's car. Yeah, maybe Elon's car. Maybe because it's about the size of a small car. Maybe it's Elon's Tesla come back. Yeah. Hello, SBAK, whatever you are. Yeah. How do you do?
Traffic. So, thank you, Tony.
Things you mentioned, you've recovered a significant or located a significant amount of debris. Is it fair to say you've located a significant amount of the payload?
You're talking about the PRC high altitude balloon.
This one today.
So Tony, at this point, I'm not able to go into more detail other than we've discovered or located a significant amount of the debris associated with the balloon. Again, we'll have more details to follow, but I'll just leave it at that.
Did he call it a balloon?
Located, but you haven't recovered and pulled out of the ocean for forensic analysis. Is that right?
Yeah. So great point. So the way to understand how this is unfolding is as we map out the area where the debris field would be.
Oh, Nihilist, we're going to come on to sticks in a minute.
It enables us to figure out where are the places that we need to prioritize the search, recognizing that we're talking a wide area. And
Arthur, could ET versus ET conflict be the result? It could be. Could we be caught up in the middle of an interplanetary war, like those islands which had the cargo cults on them?
so as that happens, divers are able to go down, and depending on the size of the.
All right, I think they're talking about. Leon, he's referred to it as a balloon a few times. I think it's a bit confusing about which one he means because he's referred to divers and things like that, which indicates he's talking about the previous. He's talking about the one a few days ago. So I think that's what they mean this time.
Debris, they're able to tag it. So debris that can be brought up quickly is brought up, put on a vessel, taken ashore. Debris that's going to take more time, and again, especially given the current sea states, it may take a little longer. We know where it is, so we tag it, and then we'll go back and eventually recover all of that. And bring
To
it
work out what she's talking
The
about.
equivalent is you found the Titanic, but you haven't started pulling up debris
Exactly.
yet from it.
Exactly.
I want to ask you about the overall program.
I think he missed the sarcasm there. You found the Titanic. You haven't found. They have found it. I mean, they have found it.
You said you've been learning a lot about this balloon program over the last couple of years, yet the annual China report doesn't have a peep about balloons in there. You spend a lot of money.
Oh,
and
forget that. But I want to hear about the
And
thing
what's not
today.
in that report, again,
Arguably an embarrassment to the White House. Would you have shot it down or allowed it to continue on its way?
so you're asking me to speculate? So Mike, I'll kind of just push back a little bit at the assertion there. So first of all, again, what made this balloon different was the length and duration that it was over the continent.
Oh, he's talking about the Chinese balloon.
There's an effort underway to ensure that folks understand. Last week, 2 hours ago, so that's underway right now. So more to follow on that front. Right now, I think they're moving to the site. We'll have more to follow in the days ahead. Let me go to a few other.
Oh, he's talking
pictures
about
that
Alaska.
described to me. In terms of the difference in the recovery effort, I mean, again, so this literally was, what, an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. So that's underway right now.
All right.
So more to follow
He's talking about the Alaska event now.
on that front. Right now, I think they're moving to the site. We'll have more to follow in the days ahead. Let me go to a few other folks here. Sorry.
They must have sealed off a large area.
Back here, and then
Remember, this is ocean that's frozen over. it's all covered in ice this time of year.
we'll go over here to Mike.
The object was spotted yesterday. Is that the first that we saw it? Or did we see it coming in a couple days before?
No, it was spotted yesterday.
And for follow up, did what we have?
Yeah,
What we
talking about
learned
Alaska
the first
now.
balloon last week, did that help us detect this object?
I would say that again, when we detect objects. Well, let me just back up. So, what you're asking is, did
Good question, TK. Why are they telling us? Why not? Why even tell us at all? Could it be the white hats are now in control of this process, the disclosure process? Could it be that? Could it be? I've asked this many times, TK. Seen as there seems to be almost a theatrical nature to the last few years when it comes to the UFO situation. That basically the white hats have taken it over. And maybe they decide they can't just do disclosure in one go. They've got to make it a process. They've got to deal with our psychology and our culture and ease it in slowly in a kind of decompression type of sense, like a diver coming up to the surface. Maybe that's it.
what we learned from the PRC balloon help us track this? Kind of a little bit of apples and oranges, right? In terms of NORAD, NORTHCOM maintains the ability to track objects. So again, they track this as it approached and entered into U.S. airspace. Again, we're still assessing what this object was. So I don't know that we learned anything new as a result of that, other than, again, I think we're all, to include the media and the public, very attuned to balloons at the moment. So thank you. Yes, sir.
No, it's lives matter. What happened in Alaska? Did Sarah Palin unleash her UAPs? Oh, God forbid. Oh, God, yeah.
Thank you, sir. And just to clarify, so this was first identified when it flew into U.S. airspace, is that correct? Or was it identified before it?
It was detected yesterday, and then again, NORAD sent up aircraft to observe it, see what it was, and then the decision was made to take it down.
And do you have any information whether this object flew over any other sovereign nations or countries?
I do not. Okay. We have time for a few more. Let me go to Joe.
Question about the recovery effort. I think you'd mentioned at the outset that it was going to involve rotary wing aircraft. That's because it landed on ice as opposed to water. That's why there isn't watercraft being used. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, Duncan, I've done an entire series of 3 videos about the fourth kind. It's a good film, yeah. Very good film. They just asked about them landing it on ice because it is covered with ice. This whole sea.
Joe, we'll get you more information on that front. Again, this happened just a short while ago, and so according to Northcom, these are the
Hello,
assets
Andy
that are
Young.
being used to go out and do the initial
What'd you
recovery.
do?
But we'll have more information
So it'd be like a salvage operation on land, really.
in terms of the various roles and responsibilities of those.
Get down in the weeds for a second. Any idea what units are involved in the recovery effort or in the F-22 that shot it down?
We can get you that information. Thanks. Phil?
Hey there, just a couple clarification questions. First off, when you first identified it, was it traveling at the same altitude, around 40,000 feet? Did you at that point know its velocity? And secondly, doesn't Northcom have the authority on its own to shoot down unidentified objects entering U.S. airspace if they pose a threat to civilian air traffic? And if so, then why was the president's authorization required in this case?
Yeah, thanks. So my understanding is it was at 40,000 feet when it was detected and ultimately taken down. The NORAD Northcom commander does not have the authority necessarily to take down an object if it's not posing a potential hostile intent or actions. However, given the fact that this aircraft was, this object was operating at an
It was
altitude that
aircraft.
posed a
See, he
reasonable
corrected himself. He said aircraft, then he corrected himself and said object. He must be under very strict instructions, always to call it an object. Even though he's referred, I wasn't sure which one, he's used the word balloon a couple of times, but I think he might have been referring to the Chinese balloon, and I got confused.
threat to civilian air traffic after consultation with the secretary and the president. And of course, the president, on our advice, in order to take it down, and we took it down.
Trying to clarify, is his authorization required in a situation like this?
Again, it's kind of a moot point at this point because the president gave the order, but he has the authorization to take action against anything that presents a potential threat to the American public or people on the ground. In this particular case, it was determined that this posed a reasonable threat to air traffic.
Hello, DJP too.
Again, I'll just leave it at that. Thanks. Tara?
Just a couple of clarifiers. Was it a single F-22 or a pair that were up today for the shot? And then when NORAD sent the initial aircraft up to sea, was there any sort of hailing or any type of warning given? Typically when an aircraft makes an incursion into protected airspace, there's a whole lot of procedures that have to be followed before it would escalate to something like this.
Okay, well, this was an object, right? So it wasn't an aircraft.
Ah!
And to answer your earlier question,
It's an object. You must call it an object at all times. He's a bit like a woke skull, isn't he? Carl Helvey says, Kirby says they managed to get some fighter aircrafts up around it and it was shot down over frozen water. So not on the sea. That's right. The Beaufort Sea's frozen over this time of year. So it's basically landed on solid ice, and which means it'll be a lot easier to recover. No divers needed. Be much more like a recovery on land.
it was a two-ship of F-22s, but one aircraft took the shot. Got time for one more. Go to Liz.
See you, Pat Riot.
Really quick, when it was started to be tracked last night, were you able to tell what direction it was coming from?
This was traveling in a northeasterly direction when it was taken down.
And then one more, the aircrafts that were observing it, what type of aircraft were those?
I'll have to come back to you on it. I think I know, but I don't want to make it up from the podium, so we'll come back to you on that one. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
No, that's interesting. Lee Allen says, so basically the president has the authority to order it taken down, but only when he knows about it. Yes. Well, personally, I don't think Joe Biden does. I mean, he probably thought someone was offering him a bunch of bananas or something when he was told about it. So, kind of as broad as it's long, really. Anyway, I'm just going to play another video now. Here we go. Present video file. There we are. White House confirms. Here we go. Let's see old John Kirby.
Speak to rumors that there is another Chinese balloon above Alaska.
Can you hear it? Can you hear that all right? You should be able to hear that. This is John Kirby. Now, John Kirby is John. This is John Kirby, a retired Rear Admiral in the United States Navy, who served as coordinator for who serves now as coordinator for strategic communications. That's very Orwellian, isn't it? At the National Security Council in the White House since May 2022. Another Biden appointee. Yeah. So this is another Pentagon official they're going to bring up now. So let's hear what he has to say. You can hear it. Great, Rhiannon. Great, Rhiannon can hear it. Here we go.
Alaska or any other parts of U.S. territory that the U.S. shot down?
So I can confirm that the Department of Defense was tracking a high-altitude object over Alaska airspace in the last 24 hours.
An object. It's an object. Forget. It's an object.
The object was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. Out of an abundance of caution and at the recommendation of the Pentagon, President Biden ordered the military to down the object, and they did.
Can you imagine that? Mr. President, yeah, what is it? I says, I don't know. Do whatever you want with it. I don't know. He couldn't order anything. He couldn't order a pizza from a takeaway. Diego Rivera. Roswell was not a weather balloon. Oh, God, here we go.
Inside our territorial waters, those waters right now are frozen, but inside territorial airspace and over territorial waters. Fighter aircraft assigned to U.S. Northern Command took down the object within the last hour. Okay.
Can I just follow up, John? And thank you for that. That's really helpful. Can you?
Well, it might be aliens, TKC. What did I cover on my radio show? Someone says Ben probably covered it in his radio show. I covered all sorts of things in that, DJ. I've not. This is brand new. This basically broke out. This news story broke last night. I wasn't planning on doing a video today. I was going to just let you relax and let you watch the Anthony Peake one. But I thought then this broke out, and I thought I'm going to have to do at least one live stream about this.
Give more details on the support that U.S. is providing to Turkey. Specifically, we understand that the USS George H.W. Bush is on standby. Can you update us on whether there's been any communications with Ankara on whether the ship will be any part of humanitarian efforts?
I think I updated as much as I could right now. What we're doing is what I put in my opening statement. You're right that there are naval assets that are in the Mediterranean and under the command of U.S. Naval Forces Europe. The commander of U.S. European Command has designated the commander of U.S. Naval Forces Europe as in charge of the operational coordination for military assets, and he is doing that. I cannot speak to any specific contributions by the aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush.
They're talking about the a warp bubble that was made that you covered it. What was that? About Roswell. Yeah, same with it's to do with the radio waves there. Same with the Rendlesham Forest incident. Duncan, it'd be interesting if China announces similar, won't it? Well, China has an exopolitical scene. I mean, James Fox's film he made. He shot a whole load of stuff in China that's going to go into his next movie.
But obviously, there's lots of capabilities in the Mediterranean region that could be brought to bear. But we're working, and this is a really important point. We're working in lockstep with our Turkish counterparts here to make sure that what we're providing is what they need at the scale and the speed that they need, and not trying to overwhelm.
Someone saying, Diego, do you think the U.S. government will stage an ELT? What's ELT? Diego Rivera. Yeah, what's that?
Their system with unneeded material or unneeded capability. So
ELE.
you talk about the Bush, but there's a lot of military capability on the continent under the European commander's authority.
Isn't it going on about this?
Another aircraft of some sort, airship.
Let's go back a minute.
We want to make sure that we're doing.
They could direct an asteroid towards this planet. I mean, they have ways of deflecting one away. And as with the weather warfare thing I told you about on a previous video about the heat wave, if they have technology to move something away from where they wanted to move it, they can also move it towards something they want to move towards. Extinction level event. They may, I think aliens are probably more likely, basically because they're a more intimidating threat.
Doing this appropriately through Turkish counterparts.
Another aircraft of some sort, airship, balloon.
That guy kind of looks like. Do you know what? Does that guy remind you of the president in House of Cards? What's the name of the actor? Is it Martin Sheen?
Something was shot down today. Who owns it? What were the circumstances?
Yeah, good questions.
Was the president directly involved in ordering this? And is wreckage being...
She's got Bob Geldof sitting next to her there, do you see? What's he doing there? Oh, come on. Give us your fucking money, you fucking bastard. Anyway, but these are good questions she's asking.
Being recovered.
Okay, so I'm going to try. Remind me if I forget something. Okay. Yes, the president absolutely was involved in this decision. He ordered it at the recommendation of Pentagon leaders. He wanted it taken down, and they did that. They did it using fighter aircraft assigned to U.S. Northern Command. The Pentagon will have more to say about the details of this later on this afternoon. It's
like hell. This later on this afternoon. This was recorded last night. We still haven't heard anything new. I'm going to double check the news before we end the stream. But I mean, if there's any more, I mean, I'm planning on doing more than one live stream if necessary. But so far, they haven't changed their story at all since last night.
Within the last hour, we're calling this an object because that's the best description we have right now. We do not know who owns.
It's the best description. Really? Why is that the best? Why can't they just give it a designation? Airplane, drone, satellite, balloon, etc.
Whether it's state-owned or corporate-owned or privately owned, we just don't know.
It's privately owned by aliens.
We don't know. As I said, state-owned. We don't know if it's state-owned.
These things should be pretty easy to work out.
And we don't understand the full purpose. We don't have any information that would confirm a stated purpose for this object. We do expect to be able to recover the debris since it fell not only within our territorial space, but on what we believe is frozen water. So a recovery effort will be made, and we're hopeful that it'll be successful, and then we can learn a little bit more about it.
Was its appearance like the Chinese aircraft?
No, it was much smaller than the spy balloon that we took down last Saturday. The way it was described to me was roughly the size of a small car, as opposed to.
You can say how big it is.
Payload that was like 2 or 3 buses size, right?
Yeah, so it's much smaller. But they don't say they're not saying it's a car. They're not saying this is a small size of a car, and it's a payload to a balloon. They're just not calling it an object. Why not just say it's a balloon? They've got nothing to lose by saying why tell? Again, this we'll come full circle because then I ask, well, why tell us at all? Why say anything?
So much smaller, and not of the same, no significant payload, if you will.
And lastly, is it now the policy of the United States?
No significant payload. What does that mean? What the hell does he mean by that? What is it? It's the size of a small car. No significant. What's it? It's unmanned. No significant payload. Size of a small car. Not a balloon. I mean, what is it? Why don't I just say what it is?
Is it now the policy of the United States that if unidentified aircraft are over U.S. territory, that it is likely the president will choose to shoot it down?
The president will always.
I'll never fly again. I'll tell you what. It'll be relief to be on that no-fly list. You know, imagine Biden sitting there saying, that plane just flew over the White House and it's really noisy. It's giving me a headache. Kamala, shoot it down, will you? Shoot it down. Well, but Mr. President, that's a 747 from KAL. It's full of passengers. I don't care. It's giving me a headache. Shoot the goddamn thing down now. Oh, yes, Mr. President.
Always act in the best interest of our national security and in the safety and security of the American people. An update on U.S. efforts to respond and to help provide assistance to the people of Turkey and Syria in the wake of those devastating earthquakes. We are American citizens. Of government, including, of course, a phone call between President Biden and President Erdogan.
Because there's a lot going on in the world. I mean, there's that young woman who's gone missing. The mother may have fallen into a river. There's this horrible earthquake in Syria and Turkey and places. Yeah. So it's like with Roswell. I mean, Roswell happened. The world was in a very tumultuous state. It was getting over World War II. Excuse me. I've got a strong throat. Nicola Bulley, that's her name, yes. Tricky Bicky Dicky, hello, says, very interesting to watch, what with the news coverage. Also, your insightful comments and rhetorical questions, Ben. Thanks, Tricky. Glad you like it. Welcome, a new person. Brett says, I think they shot down a UFO by mistake. Well, that's kind of contradictory, because if it's unidentified, they don't know what it is. They can't make a mistake. Yeah. Yeah, David, the Nicola Bulley case, it might be one for David Paulides. I've been looking into that. I can't talk about that tonight, but something a bit weird. They think she might have been washed down to the sea now. It's obviously it's very sad. I don't want to say too much, not least because it's it's an ongoing case and it's very, very, very worrying for her family, and so I don't want to say too much.
Yesterday, we announced that the United States will provide $85 million in life-saving assistance to provide shelter to the displaced, as response team is already on the ground. Rescue efforts in Adiyaman and canine support dogs, ground transportation operations, charging people in need over the last 2 days.
I think he's talking about the earthquake now. This is another thing. Okay, this isn't just a press conference about the shoot down over Alaska. It's about a lot of other things as well. All right, guys. So what I'll do now is I'll just play. I'm going to play you another video, and then we are going to go through Twitter. I want to see what the Twitterati is saying about it. So I've got another video I want to present to you. It is. Is it this one?
Speak to rumors that there is another.
Where's Sticks? Hang on. Where's Sticks? Is it this one? No. It's unidentified flying object. Okay. It's this one, right? Okay. So sorry about all the delays. It's just I'm getting to grips with bloody with StreamYard, that sort of thing. Right, downloads. Where are we? Right, this one.
All right, everyone. The big news of the day, of course, another high-altitude object was shot down the other day over the Aleutian Islands. It's a little island chain, of course, off of Alaska.
Well, it's nowhere near the Aleutian Islands. Aleutian Islands just to the west of Alaska, south of the Bering Straits. I mean, I liked Sticks. Sticks is always cool, right? But I think he's a bit off on this one, I think. Well, let's see what he has to say.
And the whole thing is a little bit strange here, because I was told by the legacy media when the Chinese spy balloon was circulating around.
Legacy media means the mainstream media. That's what he calls it.
In the air over some of our sensitive nuclear sites, that the reason that it wasn't going to be shot down is there could be damage to, debris could fall on someone, it could fall on someone's farm, and the big situation. A cow died. Oh my God! Now the taxpayers have to pay for the beef when it's been splattered all over the prairie up in Montana. We were told that it was dangerous to do that, to fire on the object at that time. And we were told it was also very...
Is Della Farrant there? Della, that you shared that hilarious meme of hillbillies throwing beer bottles up into the sky. It was Della, I think. It was Della. I think it was you who shared that with me. That was so funny.
Difficult to do so. Now, to be clear, what was shot down is technically a UFO because we haven't identified what it was yet.
Correct. Yes. I mean, anyone. I'm sure there's a certain member of the East Anglia UFO group who's going, "It's not a UFO. It's not a UFO." Well, saying a UFO doesn't mean it's alien. It just means you don't know what it is.
UFO does not have alien connotations. Most often, it is used in that.
Not necessarily, but it can do. If you know, it's when I say the popular definition of UFO is something unknown that's probably alien. This could be that. I'm not saying it certainly is. It just could be.
That context, but they're not claiming that this was a balloon, a weather balloon, spying balloon, or anything. So it could have been a flying saucer, for all we know. Maybe that's why they decided to fire on this one. I'm being glib, of course. It was probably another spying balloon. It's probably connected to the one that floated over.
Then why not just call it a balloon?
Over the United States recently. There's probably a similarity between these two events, but the reaction was not similar. And I think I know why, but first we'll go into the contravention here. We were told by the Biden admin, Biden blame shifting to the military, that the military had said, we can't shoot it down, Mr. President, it's over a populated area. Now, there's not a whole lot of people in the Aleutian Islands, so that may not necessarily take effect, although I would
It's not the Aleutian Islands.
point out that there are military bases there, and there are a few settled areas, mostly industrial seaports, for various fishing industry and stuff does exist there.
There's a Bigfoot as well. It's called a Nantinak. It's a very fierce Bigfoot as well. It's much more aggressive than the other types.
Settled areas. So you could have a debris field that's miles long, and it could hit somebody's cabin, or it could hit an endangered species. There's a polar bear or some shit. I don't know if there are polar bears in the Aleutian Islands, though. I'd have to fact check that. Anyway, we were told that was dangerous. This time it happened. The other contradiction that we see is that the Chinese spy balloon that wandered around over the continental United States did cross over that same general area. It crossed over the edge of Alaska and through the Aleutian Islands many days ago. It was not shot down at the time. Now, the decision not to fire on it after it had gone through Canada and then bent down into Montana it maybe doesn't apply here. Of course, this is Alaska. Why was the first...
It was heading north as well. It was actually over the sea heading north.
Spy balloon not shot down over that area before it penetrated continental airspace. I would think that if it's possible to do it this time, certainly they would have had the same forewarning, and then they...
That's an interesting point, actually. This one wasn't even heading into US airspace. It was leaving it. It was heading towards the North Pole. Very strange, yeah. Martin Taylor says, I've always respected the USA, but it's becoming a laughing stock of the rest of the world. It certainly is, isn't it? God, blimey. I mean, it's gone from superpower to zero in, well, since Biden took over. I mean, Biden's just a steward. He's a giggling, driveling, like, manager, if you can call him that, who doesn't manage, who just like hobbles around the place burbling. But that's why it is. It's yeah. Could it be North Korea, Diego Rivera? Well, if so, then why not say? Why not tell us? Or just telling us the designation of what it is wouldn't be a breach of national security. They could say it was an airplane. It was an air. They could use the word aircraft, which covers airplane, drone, balloon, anything. They just call it an aircraft. They're calling it an object. I mean, it could be a bird or something, like an object. Ta-da! Come on, Stick.
Claim that they did. They had been monitoring the balloon for days. Don't worry, everyone. Everything's fine. Why is it that object was not fired upon, and this object was? And I can think of one explanation for this that makes a whole lot of sense.
It's so funny because he's got this sort of deep masculine voice, and he's sitting there with a dressing gown, stroking a cat. It's like... I think he nicked the dressing gown idea from Millennial Woes.
Which is that the Biden admin right now is on heightened alert because of the first balloon. Ergo, they took the situation more seriously. Before, they didn't. They didn't immediately fire when it was still out over the Pacific, in this case, literally over territorial waters, not technically, physically over land at all. They didn't fire on it because they were caught with their pants down. They didn't expect the object to be there. They figured at first probably, oh, weather balloon slipped its tether. Well, we're not gonna waste a $500,000 missile on bringing it down. They then realized belatedly with the first spy balloon that it was not just a weather balloon that had slipped its tether. It wasn't an atmospheric test of some sort. It was a surveillance device built by China, which appears to be the case. So now they're on alert. So now they're capable of responding. But a spy balloon did successfully penetrate the continental United States.
Yeah, no, it's cute. I can't remember what his cat's called, but it's cute. It's a little cutie. It really is.
For several days, wandering around in the heartland before they fired on it. Once it was off the coast of Myrtle Beach. And by the way, they fired on it at that time to give people a spectacle. To say, well, look at us, we're big manly men. Joe Biden's a big boy. He can play with the other big boys. So we've got missiles too. Your balloons aren't safe from us.
If Joe Biden tried playing with the other big boys, they'd be giving him Chinese burns and wedgies continuously. But it was a publicity stunt. I mean, they deliberately announced in advance they were going to do it. Essentially, they closed all the local airports. They shut off the airspace. They gave out a notice to sailors to keep their ships away. And of course, all the news reporters bundled down to Myrtle Beach, and they blew the balloon up right just when it was over the sea. Now that's actually not for publicity reasons. They blew it up the moment it was over the sea, so the pieces would come down safely. And they didn't just hold the balloon; they popped it with a fragmentation warhead because they wanted it to drop straight down. They didn't want it dropping too far out to sea. They wanted it in shallow water because they always planned on salvaging it. Yeah. Duncan says, let's be honest, military started shooting them down since 1947 when it was discovered radar could do it. So that's the part of the narrative. Yeah, it does seem, and there are limited reports of combat between UFOs and humans, Duncan. Now, in almost all those cases, the humans come worse off. Milton Torres, I've already mentioned, Parvez Jafari. There's lots of instances from Russia, strangely enough. Russia seems to be prone for that sort of thing. But there are alternative views on things. There are, definitely.
Now they'll take it more seriously, though, because we already had one incursion. But the first time, I think that they fucked up. I think that they acted belatedly. You can't act once it's over the populated areas, supposedly. So once it crossed over, then it enters Canada. Well, you can't fire on it there. The Canadians probably don't have military capability to do so at this point because Justin Trudeau's a moron. Then once it re-enters U.S. airspace, the problem is it does make sense not to fire on it when it's directly over a nuclear silo. That makes sense. It's right above the testing facility here. That might be a little bit of a problem. Some of that debris could fall on a radar station or something like that. We'll wait. And then, of course, once it moves further inland, you do get more like towns and shit like that. There's not a whole lot going on in Montana of a non-military nature unless it involves fucking potatoes. You can't really fire on it over St. Louis, though. Or over Myrtle Beach itself. You have to wait till it goes offshore. I get the suspicion that all of the reporting we got for the first balloon was ass covering. Well, the reason why Biden didn't fire on it is because the military advisor said not to. And the military advisor said not to because of the danger of falling debris. By the way, it would be real difficult to do this. Okay, if it's real difficult, why have we done it twice now in the last couple of weeks? Real difficulty there. One shot, one kill. Those balloons are...
Well, you don't know if this one is a balloon. General Ryder specifically said, don't corrected someone when they said it was a balloon. They said, no, it's an object.
Chinese technology is amazing. The fact is that the legacy media and the Biden admin lied to us when apparently it had been monitoring proactively the first balloon days before it entered our airspace at all. We know that because the action is completely differential. We could have fired on the first one when it was still over territorial waters. You could have just gotten a jet up there, an hour in prep, sent it over. Apparently, you press the trigger once, and then you land, and then you act like, a Top Gun scene or something like that. That's apparently how easy it is, because we've done it.
Balloon, can you imagine the medal? Balloon killer.
Twice. So we were lied to about that. We were lied to about the reasons for not firing on it. This one didn't seem to be a problem when it had just barely entered U.S. airspace. The difference is that the first one...
I agree, Arthur, yes. he doesn't even know. He said it was over the Aleutian Islands, which is not true. I don't think he's really looked into this much, and I know he covers a lot of subjects. This is not one of his specialities. I was going to do a reply video to him on UFOs. Actually, I never got around to doing it. Maybe I can't even remember which video it was where he talked about it, but he did an entire video on UFOs, which I thought needed addressing. I've addressed Sargon of Akkad and Computing Forever on UFOs. Oh, and Morgoth as well.
Was not being proactively monitored. Here's what that's what I genuinely believe explains the scenario, the differential and the run-up cope thereafter. The legacy media probably got an emergency email from Biden saying, here, put this story out. We need to do some ass covering. We fired on the second one because we actually knew that others were probably going to be incoming. But we didn't because we didn't have enough readiness, enough preparedness, and we don't have an actual leader. We have a steward who's completely out to lunch. We didn't have anything in place to deal with the situation until we knew that such a situation potentially would exist in the future. We were caught with our pants down. I hazard a guess that Joe Biden was asleep, by the way, when the first balloon started drifting near territorial waters, and they probably didn't want to wake him. They're like, well, you know, this dude's old. He just had his bran muffin bowel movement. He's laying down for his 2-hour nappy time with his cozy banky and things, and his little collection of dolls around him, probably like Osama bin Laden and shit, plushies and stuff. He's comfy. We're not going to do anything. It's probably just a weather balloon. Just fucking ignore it. And then they realized only later that it was something else. Here's the other thing. If the public is looking up at the sky when it's dipping down in altitude, and they're capable of seeing this object, and they understand looking at it, it doesn't look exactly like a fucking weather balloon. It looks like something else. It becomes a problem because you've got pictures and video of it, and if you don't tell people it's there, you're going to have a bunch of UFO sightings, and with modern optics, of course, the plausibility of it being an alien spacecraft is a little bit lower these days.
No, it could be, you see. You say that there'd be problems, it's too late to do it. When it lands and aliens start getting out of it, yeah, whoops. Oh dear, my chair's falling apart.
So you're going to have to explain to the public why you're not willing to tell them what the fuck is up in the sky above their farm. They were caught with their pants down. A spy balloon penetrated U.S. airspace. Nothing was done because they couldn't do anything because they acted too late. They didn't realize probably it was a spying device at first. I think that's why the first object was not shot down, and this object they took a little bit more seriously. Well, it's nice to know that from here on in the future, they'll probably bring them down before they conduct all of their surveillance over the entire heartland of the United States. Would have been nice if they had acted sooner with the first device. Apparently, there's a huge difference. In the last couple of weeks, we've suddenly gone from being incapable of firing on a high-altitude balloon to being able to bullseye them out of the sky at a moment's notice. Biden will probably come out, do a presser, and say, we've made major military progress under my administration. Those Chinese balloons that were so immaculately contrapted, they were so difficult to fire on. They're just so high up in the sky, and it's hard to find them. They're hard to see on radar. They're technologically advanced friggin' balloons that they've got over in China, I suppose. But now our technology has caught up. Now we have anti-balloon warning systems. That's about all. Peace out.
Hello to Bumbleina. How do you do? JB Rich, hello. Do you like my background? I decided to give myself a background. I've chosen Alaska. That's actually the sea. That's actually the Beaufort Sea at Alaska. So that's kind of what it looks like right now. What you see here. Right. I vanish into thin air when I do that. That's actually what the location looks like right now. It actually looks like just frozen ice covered sea. Okay, so I've got another video I want us to watch. I've only got one more after this, and then I want to go through the Twitters. Present video file. All right. Now this is a video by
for Mark Mead.
This is Mark Dolan, no relation to Richard, and he is interviewing the one, the only, the irrepressible Nick Pope.
In which I speak to the biggest names in the world of politics, sport, showbiz and beyond. Tonight.
So what you got Nick Pope on there for?
Is there anybody out there? Are UFOs observing us? Are there alien life forms? Is
yes and yes.
A superior species about to take over planet Earth? Let's be honest, we could do with their help.
Yeah, aliens, please come and give us a hand, will you? Get rid of these nasty old Illuminati for us, will you?
Let's speak to Britain's foremost UFO investigator, the world-renowned Nick Pope, who worked at the...
God, it's weird. Like he used to be sort of like a pasty-faced man with black hair or dark hair. It's now gone the other way around. He's got this pure white hair and he's got this really deep suntan. How about that? UK's Fox Mulder, yeah. And anyway, let's hear what the Popester has to say.
The Ministry of Defence, where he was responsible for investigating potential alien aircraft and extraterrestrial life. Nick Pope, welcome to Mark Dolan tonight.
Thanks, Mark. Great to be on the show.
Great to have you on the show. Nick, what is the definition of a UFO?
Simply something in the skies that can't be identified. So obviously a lot of that is going to turn out to be misidentifications of things. And as we're seeing literally today in the news, some of this is going to be Chinese spy balloons and perhaps other adversarial reconnaissance devices gathering espionage. But some seems to be something else. And that's why NASA is doing a study into it, and the Pentagon too.
Indeed. I mean, look, in the 1960s, if you're in a farm in Iowa, if you see something flashing in the sky, that's a story, isn't it? Now, the problem we have now is drone technology. That must make it harder to spot UFOs.
It does, but on the other hand, our technology is getting better and better. We have space tracking radar systems in parallel with all the military and air traffic control radars. We have satellites, and intelligence community imagery analysts able to interpret what we're seeing. So we have some tools at our disposal as well to help us with all this.
And you can help us. It's a very, very good timing to have you on the show because we've got this breaking news story, our brilliant news.
Nick is looking like my granny. Leanne says, what the hell is Nick Pope? He looks like he's in the attic of some museum. Oh, yeah, definitely. Martin Taylor says that Styx's cat's name is Colditz. He's been trying to escape. Oh. Well, pardon me, I've got a bit of a cold still.
News reader Bethany Elsey was reporting this. The US has shot down, in I think just the last few hours, an unknown object the size of a small car after it entered airspace near Alaska. The incident took place just...
He doesn't flinch.
Are there alien life forms?
Hang on.
Defense bill recently...
Where was I? He didn't...
and again...
where was it?
A pretty good idea what it is you're shooting at.
He's in San Jose, California. Yeah,
David,
he's married to an American woman. He lives there.
Watched the Pentagon press conference about this, and they were being fairly cagey, as you'd expect. One thing, though, clearly they know more than they're letting on, and the reason we know that it's a fair assumption is that you don't use lethal force unless you have a pretty good idea what it is you're shooting at. So even if they don't know what.
John Nolan, Nick Pope is everywhere, yes. Like that song, his presence in this UFO documentary is mandatory. That's the Pocket Gods, the Nick Pope song, yeah. He's everywhere. He's all-knowing, he's omnipresent.
It is yet. They certainly know what it isn't. I mean, it's not going to be a manned craft of any type, terrestrial or other.
Indeed. What do we know about this Chinese balloon? Can we say definitively that it was spying on the West?
Yes, I think we can. Again, some of the details are classified, but it seems clear that what it was trying to do was to locate and then intercept various US communications devices. Now, it's not yet clear whether that was mobile telephones or, which I think is more likely, military systems. And again, we won't get to hear the full story on this because a lot of it is highly classified. But none of this takes away from the wider debate about whether there's life out there. I mean, even if some of these things do turn out to be Chinese spy devices. You know, there are many scientists who now believe that we're not alone. And that's why in the new defense bill recently passed in the US, there are multiple UFO-related provisions that will, for example, allow people who've been involved in these sorts of programs to speak out to Congress and to set aside their non-disclosure agreements and their secrecy oath.
The Gillibrand Amendment, yeah, and Marco Rubio's thing. That's interesting. It's interesting you brought that up because Dan, I think, has a lot of implications. But you see, I don't trust him. Don't trust this guy. Nick Pope is not to be. He sometimes comes out with the right, with like the right message, but he himself is a dodgy character.
So this is all exciting times.
Yes, these UFOs are perhaps not as far-fetched as they might seem. Barack Obama has spoken about UFOs that were investigated whilst he was president, and he absolutely was crystal clear. He did not rule out the existence of UFOs.
That's right. And President Trump, too. So this is not even a party political issue. Various past presidents have spoken about this, various former CIA directors, a former director of national intelligence here in the US, where I now live. So there's lots going on for sure, and a lot of serious people saying, look, this is not just all misidentification, hoax, and delusion. This is something real. It's been tracked on radar. It's been filmed on forward-looking infrared cameras mounted on some of our military jets. For the first time ever, we've got the technology to get to the bottom of this mystery, and we've now got the...
John Nolan, I don't know exactly whether GB News pay you to be on there. I don't think Tony Topping got paid. It's probably not. Probably didn't.
I think, to set aside the ridicule and to say, whatever's going on, it's real and it's a serious defense and national security issue.
Now, let's get to brass tacks, Nick. Do people who claim to see UFOs see them because they want to see them, because it's glamorous and their lives are rather dull?
Oh, my goodness. I was watching that thing on, what was it, the Unsolved Mysteries, about the weather forecaster who saw a UFO, and he lost his job. People were taking a mickey out of him in his office, and then he ended up being kicked out of his job.
I don't think so, because a lot of the people I've spoken to, both when I was doing this for the Ministry of Defense and subsequently, would really rather they hadn't had these sorts of experiences, often because it kind of takes their worldview and it flips it. So I don't think so. And these people, by the way, are from all walks of life. UFO witnesses I've spoken to include military personnel, pilots, police officers, but just ordinary men and women in the street, you know, just seeing something. Sometimes people are thrilled, sometimes they're scared, most times they're just intrigued and want some answers from the authorities.
How much of UFO sightings is down to drunkenness or drug use?
A tiny, tiny proportion, to be frank, because, you know, look, a lot of this isn't just visual sightings. I mean, I mentioned earlier, a lot of what's really exciting people now about this is that pilots are seeing them while simultaneously tracking them on radar. Satellites too, though, again, that's a very highly classified area. We just had another report, by the way, on this from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence here in the US. They didn't talk about the satellite data, but we know it exists. And in Britain, too, the facility at RAF Fylingdales in Yorkshire is certainly a place which can help get to the bottom of the UFO mystery. The space tracking radar systems there are integral to this. This is now a science problem. Yeah, sure, a couple of people coming out of the pub might occasionally see UFOs, and that's fun. But there's a serious side too.
And if there is extraterrestrial life, if there are these UFOs, do they wish us harm? Are they smarter than us?
To to get here, they are orders of magnitude smarter. I mean, we're just taking little baby steps with our space program. True interstellar travel is technology that at the moment for us is indistinguishable from magic. So if they wanted to wipe us out, they could, which is hopeful because it suggests if we are being visited, they're coming here as scientists and anthropologists to study humanity, to discover new life and new civilizations, as they say, but to come here to look at us. Now, with some of the things going on, maybe that's not so good, but I think we do have our high points too. We have art and literature and all sorts of human achievement, and I hope that would be of interest to technologically advanced civilizations out there in the cosmos.
Yeah, and we've got Monster Munch as well, and Phil Collins, you know, so we're punching our weight. Look, I've only got a couple of seconds left. We've spoken before. You don't necessarily believe in UFOs yourself, do you? So briefly, if you can, what is your verdict? Is there life out there?
Life out there, 100%. Visiting us, I don't know, but I sure hope so. Life with aliens would be far more interesting.
Really, I mean, he says so much without saying anything, and he says the same thing over and over again. David Splendid Isolation actually says he'd rather see Tony Topping on this show than Popey. Yeah, I would, and Tony did do a show with Mark Dolan, and it was very good. It was very good. Yeah, so that was that. Now I'm just going to go through what several people are saying here. I'm just going to share screen. Where is it? Here we go. Let's go to Christina Gomez, before mentioned. There we go. Right. I don't want that now. I'll remove from stream. Okay. Right. So now I go like that. Oh, now how do I do this then? Oh, right. Oh, no, I can't share screen. Oh, great. Oh, this is fantastic. I can't share the bloody screen. Oh, this is getting annoying. All right, share screen. Okay, share screen. Share system audio. That's it. Oh, that's it. That's how I do it. Okay. Right. So, Christina. Where's Christina? Has not. She did a stream 20 hours ago. What's this about? Anything about this? No. Okay. Oh, that TUFOP. Let's just have a look at TUFOP. You still see it? Because I'm sure TUFOP will be on this like a bull out of a china shop. Here we go. Oh, I'm watching Richard Dolan. Here we are. Here we go. There we go. Let's see. Videos. Oh, that's Paul Sinclair coming up. No, they haven't done it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check Twitter. Okay, let's go to Twitter. Here we go. Oh, TUFOP, right here. What they got to say? Let's see what TUFOP has said on Twitter. They got Paul Sinclair on a future show. So, here we go. Update. According to Sky Vector, the area where the unidentified object was shot is all right. It's being restricted as national defence airspace. What about that? That's rather unusual, isn't it? What else have I got to say? Right, that's 7 hours ago. Retweeting stuff by Tim McMillan. My hot take on speculation based on low information. It was a small hybrid aerostat monitoring emissions related to the US's ICBM test last night out of Vandenberg. Right. Well, an aerostat is simply like an airship or balloon. Why not just say Okay, it's a balloon, and we can't say what it's about. We can't. Why not just give it a designation? Update. We have no further details on the object, its origin or capabilities. It was the size of a small car. There you go. And there's New York Times, Pentagon downed object over Alaska. And this is the, Leslie Kane. It's February the 9th. Right. Okay, so that's... Let's just have a look at Lou Elizondo. What's he has to say? He's not. It's January the 19th. He's not actually said much. He's been quite quiet lately. Oh, that's his New Year picture. And it's his I've been out all night picture. I remember that. Okay, let's check out... who else? Who else be saying stuff? Micah Hanks. February the 5th. Oh, no, right. Ross Coulthard. Oh, you bitch! He's not following me anymore. Oh, you little soy-fed bitch. Oh, you... Honestly, man. Look, we used to follow each other. Now he stopped following me. Oh, great. Here's the drone UAP story in the media should be following. Unidentified drones flew over the US government nuclear labs. US Vision, more on these intriguing sightings of craft objects. All right. If that Alaskan object shot down ain't a balloon or drone, but Department of Defense says it's an entity, then what is it? More on the real US UAP stories behind the Chinese balloons brouhaha. Need to know, right? I'll watch that later. That's need to know. I'll go onto their website anyway. I need to know. That'll be their latest show. This is Ross Coulthard and Bryce Zabel. All right. This is February the 9th. The one positive from this silly media frenzy over Chinese balloons is that, as Chris Mellon pointed out, the Department of Defense was forced by focus on the real UAP mystery, to admit it failed previously to detect a number of Chinese overflights until it reviewed anomalous data. All right. What does Mellon say anyway? That's what Chris Mellon. Oh, he's not got a lot here. February the 8th, February the 3rd. All right, then. Who else should I'll look at Bryce Zabel. Now, I know he's not following me anymore. He used to follow me, doesn't anymore. It's just their program he does with... That's the program he does with... he does with Ross. Okay, so that's that. And anyone got any suggestions for what I can look at? Anyway, hello, Lightswallow. Hey, it's the Lightswallow. How are you? He exists. I've met him, as you know. How do you do, Lightswallow? Had a wonderful time. Thank you very much. Westall, says David, proves the sheer power of the OSA in keeping whatever. Yeah, if they can cover things up quite easily, even in a crowded space. What else is it? Stephen says, I can always tell the closed-minded ones when I tell my story about a fairies dancing inside a ring of mushrooms. It's the fairy test. Some agents fail it. Well, I know these things happen, Stephen, so I don't at all mind. I don't... I'll answer that later. Yeah. Hello, Hugo. How do you do? I missed the start, had visitors. Had a spliff. Yay, we'll continue. Good. Nice one. I know you're stoned when you don't put spaces between your words. Okay, guys. So, I don't know where else to go with this. Let me just check my notes. I think I've covered everything. Sticks, yeah, links, notice comments, 2FOP, I've done. Oh, how about Somewhere in the Skies? That's another one. Somewhere in the Skies. Ryan Sprague. He's speaking at OLM, the next OLM conf, actually. What does he have to say? He does a good show actually called Somewhere in the Skies, good UFO program, and that's February the 8th for his program. This is Ryan and Richard Dolan on the Wilson Davis notes. That's 6 hours ago. We go in 22 hours ago. No, he hasn't mentioned it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, guys. So now, is there anything else you want to? Oh, it's a keyboard, Hugo. All right. Yes, they all say that, Hugo, don't they? Every single Sky Hyatrist says, "Don't blame. It's not me. It's not what I'm toking. It's my keyboard that's playing up." All right, guys. So anyone? Okay. Anyone got any other questions or comments? Because hang on a sec. I'll just answer this text while you're doing that. That's my daughter. Okay. Come on, it's not aliens, is it? Well, you see, why shouldn't it be? You see, it may not be aliens. The thing is, if it's not aliens, there's so many questions that has been raised by this issue. So many questions. Firstly, if they talk about an object. Now, they don't normally use the word object in this context. Object, entity. They don't give it a designation. Normally, even when they want to keep something secret, they give it some kind of designation. They tell you what kind of thing it is, even if they don't tell you where it comes from or what it's doing. They say it's an aircraft. They may even just use the word aircraft. But in this case, they insist on using the word object. Now, it might not be alien. It may be, but then if it's not alien, the question remains: why use the word object? Why are they using that specific word this time? Second point: why tell us at all? And either because this is the last card moment, or it's some kind of disinformation game, or as I said, the white hats are in control of the whole issue now. Which obviously, I hope that's the case. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but there you go. Oh, John Greenwald, what does he say about it? Let's have a look. What he said? No, he probably won't. Hang on, the Black Vault. Let's go check out the Black Vault. And I'm going to recheck the news to see if there's been any updates. I don't think there has. The Black Vault. This guy is brilliant. This guy is a genius. No, it's nothing on here, I don't think. The news segment. This is basically just work he does with the FOIA. Yeah, with sending in Freedom of Information Act requests and things like that. With John Greenwald Jr. His name is. He's very, very good. I think he's a very good researcher. Now, I can't look up Richard D. Hawkes. I've blocked him. I'm thinking of maybe unblocking Nick Pope just to keep an eye on what he's doing, but I can't look at exactly how you unblock people on Twitter. I can't work out how to unblock people on Twitter. I'm a boomer, aren't I? Stephen Truth Seeker says, "Are not white hats again? The only white hats are us. There's nothing else." Yes, there is, Stephen. There are white hats. There is the 17th letter, which is real. And it could be, obviously, this is a best case scenario. It could be that those guys are now in control of this whole process. And what they're doing, everything they've been doing since December 2017, is part of it's like a positive version of the mind games the Illuminati play. They probably decided they can't just dump the whole thing on us in one go. They probably, people I don't know. I think most people, I think, would be indifferent, but they want to educate us, and to educate us, they have to put us through a process. Oh, I've got the sniffles today. I've got sniffles. I've got yawns. I've got everything. I had a cold about a week ago, and I've got like a cough that doesn't seem to want to go away. DJ has said, have you seen the weird reports around CERN the last couple of weeks? No, I haven't. No. Oh, David says Lou Elizondo has fallen out with John Greenwald. Oh, why is that? Because they did some brilliant interviews, and Greenwald, doesn't take any shit. Greenwald really asks him some tough questions. He really hardballs this guy, and Elizondo, I think, rises to the challenge. So why have they fallen out? Hugo Rue, my cannabis is my medicine. Discuss. I believe you. I believe. Stephen says it sounds like mind control. Well, this is the worst case scenario, Stephen. I can't rule this out right now. That we're all being set up for the last card. The last card will be the evil aliens. I can't rule that out right now. I'm not going to just assume it is, though. People like Richard D. Hall just always assume that. As I said in Newcastle, I think Richard D. Hall decided that Elizondo was a shill within 10 seconds of hearing his name. King Ben, block Andrew Johnson. I've already done it, King EL. I've already done it. I did it. I did it when Ian R. Crane dies, as I've explained before. I've unblocked him just to keep an eye, just so I can sort of like watch what he's up to and things like that. I do, I do follow people I don't like. This was a few weeks ago, Ben. Who's that? What was? Oh, hang on. Oh, right. It was a few weeks ago that Greenwald. Oh, here we go. Elizondo's threatened legal action against Greenwald. Greenwald was questioning his authenticity on a certain matter. Yeah, I did hear. I mean, some people have been complaining that Elizondo has been lawyering up lately, but I didn't know Greenwald was. I think it was Greer he was after. But I didn't know it was Greenwald he was having a go at. King L, and I assume you have blocked Smarmy Sanders. No, I haven't. I've not blocked Neil Sanders. If you watch Raconta's News, I'll explain why. Indeed, watch my Richard D. Hall BBC live stream where I explain why I haven't blocked Neil Sanders. I don't know. I think people have been too hard on Neil. I think they've been too hard on him. TK, you're leading people up the garden path here, saying that it's aliens. No, TK. I'm not saying it is aliens. Definitely. I'm presenting a possibility. All I'm saying is we shouldn't rule aliens out. I mean, it's really, really strange now, right? Because the whole definition, and popular definition of rationality has changed. So, for example, if I say, oh, a UFO has been shot down in Alaska, and someone comes up and says, oh, tell me more. Let's find out more about it. Let's get more knowledge, more evidence, right? That's person number one. Person number two says, I don't care. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to discuss it. I'm not even going to address it. It's not aliens. I know it's not aliens. I don't know anything about it, and I'm not going to look at it. I'm not interested. Person number two is now considered more rational than person number one. Do you think that's fair? Hatchie, Kerry and Bill are out looking for the 17th letter. Yeah, they said, what was it, the JFK Jr. He's this... he's not Vincent Fuchsia. A lot of people say it's Vincent Fuchsia, but they say it's somebody else. But I think the 17th letter is real, you see. I mean, I know that's controversial, but I have actually made a video explaining my reasons. I couldn't put it on YouTube. It's on Alt-Tech. But so, yeah, Steve Greenwald, I don't quite understand, David, why... Oh, anyway, I'll check that out, but I know that Elizondo's fallen out with several people. I know Greer, there's been this conflict with him and Greer. Hello, Louis James. How do you do? Louis, as you know, hi, Ben, I'm a long-time follower. Could you explain who Richard D. Hall is and what's the beef? It's the short version. No, Richard D. Hall is a guy who runs something called Rich Planet TV, which is actually very good. There's a lot of really good productions on there, going back more than, going back good 14 years now. Richard's been doing this almost as long as I have. What's the beef? Well, we had a he called me names and I got angry with him. So that's it basically. But as for he's got into terrible trouble lately because the BBC have made a hit piece on him. I've done a video entirely about that. Yeah. This came up on the Raconta's News as well the other night. I was on Jason's show. Martin Pratt, unfortunate name. Alaska has always been a UFO hotspot. Yeah, we were talking about Captain Teraheuchi in 1986. So, yeah. John Nolan, Kerry Cassidy believes everything her so-called whistleblowers say. Yeah, Kerry's interview. I mean, I've met Kerry. I like her. I've been a guest on her show. I've spoken at her conference in Watford. But the quality of her interviews varies from very, very good to very, very bad. You know, she's had people on like Patrick Gerald, who I think to myself, why? And there's that Aaron McCullum guy who's just full of excrement up to his eyeballs, and it's so transparent, you know. David says Hall is obviously very enthusiastic, but sadly he makes some huge errors in some of his ideas. He has made mistakes. Yes, he's made some mistakes. Now, funny enough, what the BBC are attacking him for, I don't think is one of the things he got wrong. It's other things he got wrong, I reckon. Carl Helsby, hello, Carl. It seemed to be floating, cylindrical, and silverish grey. Yes, that was an unnamed American official interviewed by ABC News. Yeah. This is the Chief of Global Affairs, Martha Raddatz. Yes. Carl, that's very strange. You see, that is very odd. If that's real, and it may well be, it's... Hugo. Patrick Gerald. Yeah, Patrick Gerald's one of these 2012 idiots. These 2012 doomsdays, like Nancy Leader and all these people. He was the one who said the Earth would turn upside down or something. Oh, Stevens, what huge errors has Hall made? Oh, I don't want to go into them now, Stephen. I've written some Panama Voice articles about the mistakes I think he's made. But as you know, I'm 100% in opposition to the attack that's been carried out on him. I think it's appalling. Nick Treadwell, hello. So Starlink thing, the Starlink thing's floating in space, and they can't ID the thing. What's NORAD for then? What's the NORAD? If NORAD can't ID something the size of a car, what they're supposed to identify anything, missiles and stuff. So guys, anyone got anyone else? And we're nearly. What I'll do, I'll recheck the news, see if there's been any updates. What I'll do is, if there's any updates on this particular subject, I'm going to do another. Okay, let's just check out the news page on the BBC. Let's see what the big black cock has to say. BBC News, USA. Oh, it's still an object. That guy looks like Tony Topping, doesn't he? US shoots down high altitude object off Alaska. It's now nearly 24 hours and they haven't changed it. It's still an object. There we go. Let's just see anything on Twitter. Let's see what's trending. Where's the trending? Here we go. Where's the trending thing? There we go. UFO Alaska. Let's have a look. What the hell was this? And this is just what we're talking about here. How does the government know that the object that was shot down was not a UFO? Yeah, well, it's. I mean, to be pedantic, Tim Shorts, it was a UFO because no one knows what it is. But you mean how do they know it wasn't something, an artificial object of non-human construction? Well, they don't. So if they do think that, why? If you see, if it was that, it would fit in with the kind of language they're using. You know, oh, it's an object. It's an object. We can't tell you what it is. We don't know what it is, and we have no information on this, that, and the other. Okay, this is cylindrical silverish grey object. That's I don't think that's not a picture of the object, I'm sure. Oh, that's an old picture. That's a picture from long ago. That's nothing to do with Alaska today. Someone mentions Robert Hastings' UFOs and Nukes book. Yes, good book. Do you still not believe in UFOs? Somebody will, you know. Somebody will still insist that the Mick West of this world will still come out and say it's a reflection in a cockpit window. Is this what they saw in Alaska? What's this? See what? Let's click the latest. See what it says on the latest. Let's have a look. Concerned unidentified object shot
different
down.
entities here between the high altitude balloon
Can you hear that?
and what was taken down. But again,
Probably not.
what you have is a threat to our sovereignty to successfully take down this unidentified object. I understand that we're perhaps dealing with different entities here between the high altitude balloon and what was taken down. But again, what you have is a threat to our sovereignty to success.
That's interesting. I mean, I think you can probably hear that because it says mute screen audio. You can, great. You can hear it. That was a senator from Alaska. It's interesting what she said, wasn't it? She used the word entity, she's trying desperately to. She's sort of skirting around it, isn't it? She doesn't want to sound like one of us. She's just like Dr. Tabitha Boyajian when she was talking about Tabby Star. It appears President Biden ordered the Air Force to shoot down a truly legitimate UFO over Alaska. They can't identify it, yeah? UFO shot down over Alaska? Do you believe the UFO was an alien spaceship? What's this viewed? Do you believe the UFO shot down over Alaska by the US military was an alien spaceship? I'm going to answer this. This is a good question. See conversation. All right. Let me. Oh no, I can't reply. No, I can't reply. Okay. All right, guys. So, anything else? Anyone want to add anything else? Where are we now? Where are we now? All right. Okay, let's go through your questions. I might have to skip a few of them. NORAD has a Stargate, says DJ Beta. All right. NORAD can identify Santa. Well, they do publish a thing every Christmas Eve following Santa, don't they? Oh, Hugo, don't be like that. Hugo's saying, I will not mention cannabis again. I will not comment again. You're going through that paranoid stage of cannabis now, aren't you? Come on, you can talk about cannabis anyway, anytime you like. I like it when you talk about that. All right, just because people have all right, okay, you disagree. You're disagreeing with Rhiannon. That's fine. Just disagree. Stephen says everyone makes mistakes, but RDH needs to be recognised for some of his research he's done. Well, does anyone not recognise him for the research he's done, Stephen? DJ Peter, Mick West needs to stop huffing his own farts. Yeah, that guy doesn't need cannabis. He's too high up on himself. The lights were low. His channeling is in a Shrimpton here. It's the Germans. Funnily enough, Michael Shrimpton does think UFOs are a conspiracy invented by Major Donald Kehoe, who was a German agent. All right. See you, Hugo. Bye bye. All right. So is that it, everyone? I mean, we've got an hour and a quarter. Hugo, no, Ben, cannabis does not produce paranoia. Well, it did. It did with me, Hugo, when I took it. It did with me. Anyway, I'll see you, Hugo. Take care. I got very paranoid when I took it. I'd taken it twice. The first time I just laughed my ass off. The second time it was horrible. I've written about it on her Panamo Voice. It made me feel horrible. I had a very bad trip. Yeah. So, does anyone have anything else to add? I hope Hugo is Hugo rage quit. All right, because it's illegal. Hugo's no, don't rage quit, mate. I'm not having a go at you, but I just talking about my own experiences. Oh, there's an argument broken out now. Okay, guys. So what I'll do now, I'll keep an eye on the news. It looks like I think this story is just going to disappear. I mean, whatever's recovered from the Beaufort Sea is going to be taken to Wright Pat. It's going to be studied in a technical data section like the Roswell spacecraft. I recommend that book. I should read it, really, shouldn't I? Where's that book? Here we are. Hang on a sec. Okay, yeah, I want to... I always have to smell a book. Sacred Corridors by Dr. Irina Scott, McCann Scott. I interviewed this lady on her Panamo radio a few times. This is about Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. The secrets behind the real Project Blue Book, Wright-Patterson AFB, Roswell, Battelle, Memory Metal, Dr. J. Allen Hynek, and UFO cover-ups. That's a long subtitle. But that's worth listening to. I think this book might give me more of an insight into what's been happening in Alaska. Hey, it's been a long stream, guys. We've been going over 2 hours. So what I suggest we do is I may do another live stream tomorrow. I'm on the Paranormal Peep Show tomorrow afternoon while we're recording it, and then I might do one in the evening if there's an update in this story. But at the moment the story is just the same. It's just high altitude object shot down over Alaska, US says, and they keep saying object. They haven't changed that. I thought this story would solidify a little bit. I thought it would solidify slightly and we'd have more information. Now we haven't, which means what? Diego, breaking news: bodies have been recovered from the craft. Citation needed, Diego Vera. Where is it? How do you know? What I'll do is, I mean, if there's an update on this, I'll do a live stream tomorrow. But at the moment, it looks like I think this is just going to go quiet. I honestly think this is just going to go quiet. Hugo Rune, thanks for ignoring me. Oh, Hugo, I'm not ignoring you. I'm trying to present a show here. I told you I couldn't answer every single comment. Martin Taylor, Ben, with all this UFO community celebrities, it's difficult knowing who's genuine or intelligence place decoys, CIA and such. I think you've got to tread a fine line between excessive naivety and excessive cynicism, Martin. That's the thing. I mean, you can go down one route or down the other. I mean, I've put... Oh, just kidding. Oh, all right. Thank you very much. Diego Rivera, you had me going there for a minute. But, what I suspect is this story is going to go lower and lower down the headlines, and I think it's just going to vanish. Whatever's happening in Alaska is going to be probably just going to be kept private from now on. But if something happens, I'll do another live stream. I'll put another pinned comment. I'll repin the comment on the notice. I'll leave the notice up for now, and I'll put another pinned comment. I'll unpin the one I've got now. There we go. I'll unpin the one that's there now, and I'll put another pinned comment on when if I do another live stream. Unpin. There we go. Okay, so keep an eye on the notice. I'll try and give you as much notice as possible. Neil says 2 more craft detected flying in the same area. Oh, Neil. You're winding me up too, aren't you? Like Diego Rivera. Rhiannon says night night and Ben. All right. Thanks for the live stream. Great debate. You're welcome, Rhiannon. And it's okay. It's okay. I'll talk to you later, Rhiannon. I'll talk to you later privately. But don't worry about it. I know you. Yeah, you, Neil. You're doing what Diego Rivera did, didn't you? Arthur says, I think it will go quiet too. No video, no wreckage, just memory hole it. I think that's probably what's going to happen, Arthur. But if for any reason it doesn't, if for any reason this flares up again, you'll hear about it first, live and exclusive on Hapanwo TV. I know you couldn't resist it, Neil. Yes. Oh, Hugo, everyone's winding me up now. Oh, dearie me. I'm gonna have a glass of wine. Actually, I've got a little bit of one left. I've got another bottle. Cheers, guys. I've got wine. Night, nights, David. Splendid isolation. It's all right, Hugo. Don't worry about it. Night, night. Night, night. Take care, all of you. It's been a good long live stream, and despite a few technical hiccups, everything went all right. We got a lot of viewers. It went up to 70 at one point, and so it was a good spread of views. Have I shared it around? Oh, I haven't shared it around. I've got to share it around the groups. There we go. Share to group. There we go. Just share it around my groups. But it's been so thank you very much, all of you. It's been really, really great. It's been a good live stream. I've really enjoyed it, actually. Third Rail Radio and bases. I'll put it basis project. There we go. That'll do. I'll put on Aerial Phenomena as well. That's a good group, Aerial Phenomena. It's run by a Scottish lady. Aerial Phenomena. Yeah, there we go. Okay, guys. Good night, Stephen Truthseeker. Take care. David, night nights. Hugo, night night. Neil, Rhiannon, Hugo, and David, and everyone else. Arthur Preston, Martin Taylor, Diego Vera, Lights Were Low. Take care, all of you. No, we're not going to talk about the outer limits thing. Night, Fletch. It likes what I suggested talking about outer limits. Charles Scott, is he here? Oh my God. Let me end the stream now. Night, Fletch. Night, Alien Biker. That's a good name, Alien Biker. Good name. Take care, all of you. Thank you very much. Keep your eye on the notice. There may be, if I think probably if nothing happens by Monday, I'll take the notice down and just say, okay, that's the end of this subject. But there may be another live stream coming soon. Thanks for watching. Remember to keep your eye on Hapanwo TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.